Most people hear history of economics and instantly think of Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or maybe Aristotle if they paid attention in class. But there's a quieter story hiding in the medieval world that almost no one talks about. Nearly 1,000 years ago, long before capitalism or central banks existed, a Muslim scholar issued a warning that still fits every modern financial crisis. His message was simple. When money loses its moral direction, societies fall apart from the inside. And looking at the world today, he might have understood us better than we think. Welcome back to the channel, where we break down the real relationship between money, power, and history. To understand Al-Ghazali, one of the giants of the Islamic Golden Age, you have to imagine a world that feels familiar and foreign at the same time. It's around 1100 CE. Europe is poor, fractured, and still recovering from centuries of instability. Meanwhile, the Islamic world stretches from Spain to Persia. Its cities are wealthy, crowded, and buzzing with scholarship and trade. Baghdad, Damascus, Cairo, these places are the Wall Streets and Silicon Valleys of their time. Commerce is exploding, wealth is rising, and society is changing faster than people can understand. Then comes Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, a philosopher, jurist, theologian, and outspoken critic. Think of him as someone who could talk about the purpose of the soul and the purpose of money in the same breath. Born in 1058 in Persia, he rose quickly in the intellectual world. By his 30s, he held one of the most prestigious teaching positions of the era. But what made him different wasn't his status. It was the fact that he refused to accept things the way they were. He watched society get richer and more unequal. Markets were growing, but people were drifting away from meaning. The economy looked strong on the outside, but felt empty on the inside. Sound familiar? So he asked a question almost no one else had the courage to ask. What happens when a civilization becomes wealthy faster than it becomes wise? To answer it, he focused on something everyone used, but few truly understood: money. Here's the part that surprises most people. Al-Ghazali wasn't just a religious thinker. He was one of the earliest people in history to analyze money in moral, psychological, and systemic terms. Where Aristotle treated money like a tool and later economists treated it mathematically, Al-Ghazali studied its impact on behavior, trust, and the long-term fate of nations. At its core, he believed money wasn't meant to be worshipped or hoarded. It was just a tool, a medium that helps people trade, build, and cooperate. He compared money to a mirror. A mirror has no value by itself. Its value comes from what it reflects. Money works the same way. And from that insight came one of his most important ideas. Hoarded money is dead money. Wealth that just sits in vaults or gets buried in courtyards isn't only useless, it's harmful. Idle wealth doesn't feed workers or support families. It stops the economic bloodstream from circulating. He wasn't attacking rich people. He was explaining a system. When wealth stops moving, society breaks. His next major point hits even harder. Speculation destroys trust. Al-Ghazali had zero patience for people who manipulated markets, created fake shortages, or profited from crisis. To him, profit without contribution wasn't intelligence. It was corruption. And corruption spreads. Once trust disappears, the entire system collapses. If this sounds like he's talking about housing bubbles, predatory lending, or modern financial crashes, he is. Just 900 years earlier. But he wasn't anti-business. He wasn't anti-profit. He actually defended trade and believed wealth could be meaningful. What he rejected was dishonest business, cheating, lying, false weights, hidden defects, manipulation. He argued that markets only work when people trust each other. And once trust is gone, the economy crumbles. He also talked about labor. He believed work had dignity, and that unearned wealth was spiritually dangerous. Not because of morality alone, but because of incentives. Societies get stronger when people contribute. They get weaker when people exploit. Then he turned his attention to rulers. In his era, leaders often diluted gold and silver coins to stretch their budgets. Today, we call it inflation. He called it theft. He believed a ruler who manipulates currency is slowly stealing from the people. It destroys trust, hurts the poor, and destabilizes the entire system. Political corruption, broken institutions, desperate rulers, he lived through all of it. And he noticed a pattern. When leaders cheat, everyone else starts cheating. When institutions fail, people lose their sense of responsibility. And the whole economic order becomes a chain reaction of distrust. His conclusion was simple. A society can survive poverty, but it can't survive corruption. Currencies don't collapse because a country runs out of money. They collapse because people stop believing in the system behind it. He even predicted that if rulers manipulated money too much, people would abandon their own currency and switch to foreign ones. 1,000 years later, we see that in hyperinflation countries across the world. But his biggest insight might be this one. You can't fix an economy until you fix the incentives that shape human behavior. People hoard out of fear. They speculate out of greed. They cheat when they think no one's watching. And they manipulate money because it's easy. Unless a society aligns incentives toward honesty and contribution, it will drift toward instability and collapse. Al-Ghazali believed wealth wasn't bad. It was incomplete without responsibility. Civilizations rise when people contribute more than they extract. They fall when profit becomes disconnected from the public good. And once a society becomes selfish, collapse becomes unavoidable. Fast forward to today. Our world feels like the exact scenario he warned about. Money moving faster than meaning, inequality spiking, speculation everywhere. Trust in institutions dropping, inflation rising, and financial bubbles appearing one after another. Nothing has changed except the technology. His warnings about hoarding sound like today's debates about billionaires and offshore accounts. His points about speculation mirror crypto bubbles, housing crises, and shadow banking. His critique of manipulated currency connects directly to modern inflation debates. His belief that trust is the foundation of prosperity explains why nations with honest institutions have stronger economies. Al-Ghazali would probably look at our world, runaway debt, widening inequality, political gridlock, and repeat what he wrote 1,000 years ago, where justice is lost, prosperity cannot remain. Economies don't fall apart because the math stops working. They fall apart because the people inside the system stop trusting each other, because incentives encourage the wrong behaviors, because institutions fail to uphold fairness. His message wasn't about religion, it was about reality. Money isn't mechanical, it's moral. And when the morality disappears, the system breaks. In a world shaped by debt, speculation, and uncertainty, his ideas aren't just historical, they're a warning. And understanding that warning isn't just financial education, it's financial protection. If this gave you a new way to see the world, make sure you subscribe. History doesn't repeat, but if you ignore it, it'll hit you all the same.